Hello and welcome back to another episode of Movie Goons. As you know, we're not doing anything on SoundCloud at the moment. We're just bringing it all onto YouTube temporarily, and hopefully soon we'll come back to SoundCloud. But anyway, there was a big movie this weekend, and everybody has known Avengers Endgame got released literally just a couple of days ago. We went to see it last night, and Sarah is joining me again for another sort of video podcast. And the last one we done was the 18th, I believe. So yeah, that's quite a long time ago. So yeah, so it's well overdue for another video. So at the moment, as you know, Endgame is out, and we want to do our sort of spoiler review. So you have been warned. But anyway, if you come to the party now and you haven't seen it, I'm not going to say sorry, because this is going to be a spoiler. I will be pressing spoiler everywhere on the beginning. So yes, this is going to be a spoiler video. But anyway, the lead up for us, for me anyway, it's been quite a sort of emotional ride, really, especially with some of the other films that have been out as well, and then the downer of Infinity War, and this film I really think was going to sort of tie all this sort of loose ends together, ready for the next phase. So what we're going to do, we're going to quickly just run through a few bits and pieces, what we liked about the film, what went right, what wasn't good, because there had a few gripes really, but they're more sort of nitpicks. Other than that, it was a good film, and just really how we sort of felt afterwards. We both went in quite excited, weren't we? Mm-hmm. I know I was, I know Sarah was, but at the end, it was very exhausting. It is 3 hours, but it didn't feel like a long 3-hour film. What do you think? Well,
Dragged a bit at the beginning, but then that's sort of tying it in for Infinity War, and you kind of had to sort of have all that impact sink in, I guess. So, I don't know, once you sort of get into the middle of the film, it doesn't feel that long.
No, not at all. I mean, it is a slow burn. I'm not using the term slow burn as a boring. It had its set pieces. Because you really, because we both didn't think they're going to do 5 years later. We really didn't think that at all, and we were quite surprised by that as well, the direction that they took it in. I had a few sort of theories what they're going to do, but and I was trying to think about how they're going to tie it to the comic, but I really don't think they come anywhere close to the comic at all. They just had to do their own thing, which I really appreciated, and I think a lot of people who are not big comic book readers as much as I am are still going to be pleased and satisfied with that anyway. So at the moment, we're just going to go through some of our favourite bits. Sarah, do you want to go first with some of your favourite bits? What sort of bits and pieces that did you like about the film? What worked for you? I know it's a bit broad.
Yeah, it's a long 3-hour film with lots of things going on and happening.
So set pieces like story. What story bits worked for you then?
It was kind of there's an element of time travel in this. Everyone suspected there was going to be time travel, except it doesn't work the way that everyone, well, maybe not everybody predicted, but some people. I mean, as you say, spoilers, it doesn't work as we go back in time and we defeat Thanos by going back to that moment and defeating him before he does the snap. It's nothing like that. It's more, we need the stones to bring everybody back, and we need to go into the past to get them. So they all go back in, but they're in different teams. And of course, when you've got so many characters, you kind of have to have them team up and go. And I thought the team ups, the choices worked really well.
People bounce off one another quite well.
Yeah, because it's characters that either don't have much screen time together in other films. I mean, obviously, Hawkeye and Black Widow worked really well. Yeah. And for what they had to do with the Soul Stone, well, if you know the Soul Stone, you could probably work that one out.
Yeah, yeah.
That didn't end well. That was one of the few moments that had me literally go.
Yes, I was. Well,
because I'm a big Hawkeye fan. I've even got my necklace on.
I mean, when I was sitting next to you, and I seen that bit when he was jumping off, and
they're fighting over who's going to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, and I turned to you, and you just went like this, go.
Because
I was like, wow, that was an amazing reaction.
Well, again, because like I said, this is like, are they actually... They keep on teasing it, that Hawkeye's going to get it.
Since Age of Ultron, really?
Since Age of Ultron, when it's like, he's going to somehow get killed during the end fight, and he doesn't. You always kind of suspect he's one of the ones that's going to get it, and he doesn't. That's, again, if you've seen the film, you know that he doesn't get it. Black Widow is the one that does, and I feel kind of bad. Some people have complained that they didn't really focus on that enough. It's like they didn't give it. It's like, oh, she's, you know, Black Widow's died. They gave it what they could, considering the length of time, and considering they can't spend the whole movie mourning her.
Time is at the essence.
Well, yeah, it's a shame they couldn't have come back and maybe mentioned it at the end. I don't know, but at the end of the day, her dying is really not that much of a surprise. She didn't have that much. All she had was the Avengers. That's all she had.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hawkeye had a family to get back.
Well, and that's one thing that sort of bugged me as well, because they had to get these Soul Stones at certain points in time, because they didn't want to have any sort of paradoxes sort of shearing off and having the future sort of split and fragmented. So they had to take the Soul Stone back, and that could have brought back... Could have, maybe, I don't know.
It wouldn't, well, no.
I don't know. They could have explained that a bit better,
well,
maybe.
No, what they did is they have to go back. But the thing is, then it's all done by Steve. All he does is he does it at the end, because they can't spend ages showing you how he's going to put all these stones back, because otherwise, again, you're stretching out the film even longer.
Yeah,
But like I said, as always, my original point was, I did like the different... moments, because they go back to the Avengers film. So but it's one of those things, because time travel frazzles my brain half the time, and I like the fact that they didn't spend too much time showing you bits that you'd already seen. It's like, well, we've seen these in the other films, and there would have been... It was actually nice seeing what was going on at the same time, because what you don't know is the Ancient One, she comes back, because they're going back to a time when she was alive, and she was actually helping fight during that big...
in New York.
New York. And that's something you wouldn't have occurred of.
And she knew about Doctor Strange, because she said, and she referenced, he's the best of us.
And she knows this because she can obviously see timelines and futures, I guess. Or possible.
Because she explained it as well, didn't she?
And she explained it very well. So I liked that, and the fact that they had Bruce Banner do that, and I liked that it was Tony and Steve went together, because of course they're the oil and water sort of thing, but they still get together. They had their own relationship, so that was cool, them having to work it. And Thor and Rocket also is just a kind of comedy team.
And that worked really well in the Infinity War, anyway. I did
like their interactions in Infinity War. So, yeah, I liked that. Once they actually got to the time travel bit, and they're actually sort of going back to try to get the Infinity Stones, that's when, for me, it started to pick up.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't like it beforehand, it was just that's when I sort of got more engaged, I guess.
Yeah, and we wanted to know, because at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, how Ant-Man was going to come back as well, because you see him in the trailer. Personally, I wish we didn't see him in the trailer, personally.
Well, and you'd want to guess how he got out of the quantum realm instead of a rat crawled over. That was a bit...
lame.
It was a bit. It's like all this scientific technology that PIMS is supposed to be able to operate, and apparently a rat can do it.
Yeah,
so.
I really thought it would be nice if it was someone that was found all this tech, and he was just messing around with it, and somehow that happened, and I would have might have seen that.
Again, they had to do it quite quickly, though.
They did, because they had a lot of story to get into. So that was pretty much your bit. For me, the bits I really enjoyed was the interaction with Steve fighting Steve in...
That was funny.
That was good, and especially when he was... They almost fought to almost like a standstill in a way, because the old Steve in the Avengers, he thought he could have been Loki. So he just got to take Loki down, sort of thing, because
it's a good way of not making Steve suddenly think, oh,
he's a bit gullible.
Why is there two? Well, yeah,
he is a bit gullible.
He's the most naive of the.
Yes, he is. But back then, he hasn't all been thawed out, so he is going to be a bit naive. He's not used to all this yet.
Yeah.
So I thought that was quite good. And then he's about to say, "I can do this all day." He goes, "Just don't." And I like that.
He's just like, I know.
But my favourite bit in the whole film, and this is another spoiler for you, is they sort of teased it at Age of Ultron when Steve was picking up Thor's hammer. That, for me, it was quite a good pop in the cinema for that, wasn't there? It was actually quite a good pop.
Oh yeah, apparently all cinemas had that.
Yeah.
Yes, there was that sort, and it definitely got... I mean, the whole end battle had me in tears to start with, just because of the emotion of seeing all of these... Like, all of them. Like, you got... Infinity War had them spread out, but you still had a decent, really cool battle. But to see them all... Like, literally everybody on the battlefield near enough. Yeah, and he actually says, Avengers Assemble.
Yeah. And
it was amazing.
And they pretty much almost teased as well from the comics which no one else has actually mentioned. I mean, my mate Paul was talking about this earlier on, and I was like, yeah, I had that vibe too as well. They had almost like a vibe of the East Coast Avengers from the comics. If any of you guys are comic book buffs as well, drop me a comment below and let me know what you thought about that bit as well. I might not be the only one. The other pop I quite liked as well, which only a couple people has mentioned as well, especially you had John Russo in the group as well, talking about the Lost People. I thought that was good. And what was
Jim Starlin?
Thank you. I can never remember his name as well. Who's the creator of Thanos as well? Jim Starlin. Jim Starlin was there as well. And to be honest, I wasn't sure that was him until my mate sort of pointed it out. I was like, I know him, but I couldn't quite grasp it who it was. And they only just literally had one line, and that was it. And I was like, it was a bit quick, and if you blink, you miss it. And he looked awful. That's the reason I couldn't recognise him. And I thought that to be a really good pop as well. And I like that. For me, they had quite a lot of sort of links to the comic books as well. And I did actually like as well the relationship, which they didn't have to speak too much, was Tony Stark and Nebula as well in the Milano. And I thought they had hardly any oxygen left, they got hardly any food left, they're running low on power and stuff like that. And basically, they're going to die in space. And that little relationship, even though they didn't have to do much to it, that spoke 1,000 words to me. It really did. It worked really quite well. I never
really thought about it until afterwards, really. But
yeah, but that was me. I was some bits and pieces I enjoyed as well.
Well, as I say, you get to have a lot of characters interacting that don't normally because of all of the characters they've had. It's amazing just how many small parts this had. And I mean, like, you see Aunt May for like a blink at the end.
Yes.
You see Ant-Man, what's her name?
Cassie?
Not Cassie, you see her. But you also see
Pym's,
Hank Pym's wife, she's like at a blink at the end.
And the person that you notice as well, which...
Okay, spoilers, because everybody knows, if you watch it by now, that Tony Stark is the one who sacrifices himself at the end. And to be fair, the whole thing is done so well.
Yeah, it was.
And kind of appropriate. I actually thought it was going to be Steve who was going to die. Because I always assumed, because he's a soldier, it made sense that he's the one who goes out in battle. Mm-hmm. But it's actually Tony Stark, and it actually makes sense. But anyway, they have a funeral at the end, and you've got all this sort of line of people that you're thinking, yes, you'd see them at Tony Stark's funeral. And you've got this one kid who, again, maybe people, not necessarily people noticed, because you do just see random people at funerals. And I was just sort of thinking, why is this kid on his own? We can see behind it. I didn't even necessarily recognise him. I was just kind of curious and thought, I wonder if that's the kid who was in Iron Man 3. Because we only ever saw him in Iron Man 3. And I actually liked that kid. He was actually quite cool. They had a nice little relationship.
Because they were connected.
They were. And that kid was just cool.
Yeah.
And because it's like, I mean, that film was like 6 years old now. So, of course, the kid's now a teenager and grown up. You wouldn't necessarily recognise him. But I looked it up on IMDb and it was actually the same
Yeah, because you said in the cinema, you whispered to my ear and goes, I was like, oh, who's that kid? And he goes, I was like, oh, is it? And I was like...
I figured it was. And I thought, again, it's those little touches for the last film. Those little details. That I thought, man, they've included everything pretty much. They even managed to bring back characters from the past who are dead, because you've got Tony Stark interacting with his dad.
Yeah,
again,
that was nice. That was lovely.
Scene. And then you had Jarvis, who people will only know if you watch Agent Carter. And it was like, I loved that. Seeing Jarvis, I got excited for
I got excited as well.
Jarvis! And it was Jarvis, not computer Jarvis, not Paul Bettany. It was actually the Jarvis from Agent Carter, and I was thinking, that's so cool.
It felt like this film was almost like an anniversary.
It was a reunion.
Yeah. No,
an anniversary.
No, but a reunion of everybody, so old, new, current, everybody, as many people that you can sort of cram into a movie. And as well, I will have to say as well, the aging of what's his name's gone, the de-aging, Hank Pym.
That was good. They did a few de-agings in there.
Stan Lee's one was amazing.
Stan Lee's was really good. His cameo was cool.
The car as well, yeah, because when you see the bumpers in the left set, I went, it's going to be Stan Lee's cameo straight away, and
I just got it from the voice.
I got it from the bumper sticker. That's how much I've been doing.
I don't even think they actually de-aged on Slattery. I think they just did that with makeup, because that looked way too natural. Because of course with Howard Stark, it's always a bit confusing because you either get him, if you get him really young, like World War time, you get Dominic Cooper to play him, and if you're doing, but there's certainly a cut-off where it's like, well, who do we have? Do we have John Slattery playing him as an older one, or do we have Dominic Cooper? In this one, because it's the 70s, they could have gone either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just made Dominic Cooper look a bit older, but instead they made John Slattery look younger, which I think actually worked better.
All they really did was dye his hair, really, and just a bit of makeup.
Dark mustache and all that stuff. And I think it was more appropriate because it is John Slattery I think we more associate with Tony Stark.
I would say now,
playing older Stark, because we've seen his reactions and they've done a hologram and he's the one we see in Civil War getting killed. Whereas Dominic Cooper's one is really only in the first...
he's only in pictures. He's
mostly associated with with Penny Carter, actually. He's more associated with Penny Carter. Yeah. So, yes. So, and she's in it, of course.
Yeah, and that was nice as well. Just bringing everyone in. But
not feeling cluttered, because everyone... They couldn't give everybody a lot of time, but they gave people kind of the time they... Because they even gave Thor's mum a scene, and that was lovely.
Yeah, and she knew that he was from the future as well, and that's one I'm going to bring to my little bit of a hate, really.
Okay, let's go on to things we didn't like. Then,
we didn't like.
This is going to get longer.
Yeah,
it's already 16 minutes.
So for me, was Fat Thor. I like the comedy sort of frat house sort of thing. I thought that was okay, and I did laugh at the bit with Fortnite as well. With Thor taking over and saying to this new Slayer, whatever his name was. Yeah. Very imaginative, new Slayer. But that bit was really good, actually. I did like that bit, but I didn't like Thor. And then I was thinking Big Lebowski, and
they said it.
They actually said it as well. So that was something I didn't like. And some of the humour that was in it, just to break up the tension, where they're facing almost like certain death or something really sort of dramatic, and there was almost like this bit of ribbing. I didn't like some of the jokes, but other than that, those are my only little gripes. And they're just nitpicking gripes. Other than that, it was a good film. What are your bits?
I kind of do agree with you on the Thor thing. It's like, the whole bit when we first see him, in New Asgard, Fat Thor... it's funny, it's humorous. You don't expect it.
No.
He's got one hell... And I'm pretty sure that beer gut is not real.
Because, it can't be real.
Like I said, I follow Chris Hemsworth on Instagram, and there's never any pictures of him looking fat.
It's just the love handle straight away. And I seen those love handles, I went, that's going to be Thor, innit? Yeah, Fat Thor.
And it's a shame. And the thing is, okay, call me shallow if you like, Thor is my favourite of the main Avengers. Hawkeye is my favourite of all of the Avengers. Thor is my favourite of the ones who have the main core Avengers, who get the films. So I love him. I loved him in Infinity War. When he came into the battlefield, that was one of my favourite parts. Yeah. Especially when they were playing the Avengers music to it. I thought it was great. So to see him in this one, because even at the end, when it's like, oh wait, time for battle. Again, I really like the fact you saw his eyes glow and he gets a lightning, he gets his thing. He's still Fat Thor though. And again, call me shallow, but I was hoping he would, I don't know, he'd somehow, he managed to change his hair, so you'd think he'd be able to lose the pounds at the same time. And like I said, he had his nice scene with his mum and all that.
That was good.
And again, the fight scene and everything, him with Stormbreaker was awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, I don't know, this sort of, the slobbery look of him did get a little bit like, come on, go back to what you were. And then he did get a bit too humorous. It's like, I feel like Thor has become the comedy relief of all of them.
Especially after Thor Ragnarok, I would say.
But I love Thor Ragnarok, so it works in that, so it's fine. I don't know what else, if there was anything I didn't like, if there was anything obvious that stood out as, I got a bit confused with some of the time travel stuff, and some of the plot holes they haven't really explained, like Loki's escaped from the past, but we don't know how that's going to impact everything, so that could be an excuse to say, see, Loki's not dead. Yes, but also he has to be, this is Avengers, he still has to be in Dark World and Ragnarok and all this and stuff, and it doesn't make sense. Unless he's going to have a TV series where at the end of it he's going to go back to that moment somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see, because it is going to go on Disney Plus, and it's a TV show. I'm not sure how they're going to do all that, when that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't quite get how that makes any sense.
But we will find out soon, maybe.
So, I don't know, apart from a bit of the pacing at the beginning that got a little bit, like I said, it was kind of slow going. I don't think there was anything... I could have honestly had a much longer climax with seeing more of them fight. I mean, the way it was done anyway.
Yeah, it was.
And both armies clashing was amazing. Like I said, it's really annoying because I wear glasses. And when you're tearing up with joy, and suddenly your glasses getting wet and steamed up, you can't see it, and then this whole battle's happening, and you have to wipe your glasses and make sure you can see, kind of was annoying. So I'm looking forward to seeing that fight scene again, so I can see that proper clash without being teary-eyed.
Okay, so moving on to what character did it for you? For me, the character was, there was a bit of quite a lot of hush with this character as well. And they released they released a pop vinyl, released a figure as well, and I was thinking, so because in Infinity War you hardly saw the Hulk. In this one you had pretty much the whole budget, not whole budget, but a lot more of the Hulk, and it was a blend of Hulk and Bruce Banner, which was
Professor
Hulk as well, and he was the only one that could really sort of snap the fingers, and I thought that was quite fitting, really, for him to sort of bring everybody back and so on. I thought that was one of my favourite characters, along with Steve as well, because there's a lot more Steve character development for Steve as well, almost rounding off the character, because when he had to go back in time to return all the stones as well, he stays back there. And that, for me, that was a tearjerker for me. Because for me, I love Steve Rogers, love him with a passion. Loved him in the whole thing when it comes to House of M, where he sort of lived out his life and he became old Steve Rogers. And in a way, we saw that. And he was like, about nearly 100 or just over 100, something like that. I was trying to do the math. And that was really good as well, to see him come back and then pass on the shield. And this is another spoiler bit as well. I was hoping to see Bucky get the shield. But because of the current comics and the direction that they've gone, they gave it to Falcon, which does make sense. I'm not dissing Falcon in any way, shape or form. But I like my comics and I would like to see that happen. But either way, though, I'm happy whoever's got the shield. One of those two, I'm happy with that choice. Anybody else wouldn't make sense. But I'm happy that has happened.
Well, one of the reasons I thought Steve Rogers was going to die in this is because, again, like I said, I assumed he didn't really have anything, but then it never occurred to me until he went back. The moment he disappeared and then didn't come back, I thought, oh, he stayed in the past with Peggy.
And that was nice.
I actually thought that was, because that's one of the things that's sort of always been over his head, the fact that he never got to have that life, he never got to see Peggy again properly, he never got to have that life with her. I thought it was actually a really nice thing to give him, that he does actually have this life. And it's also another way of not killing him, but also saying, well, he can't be Captain America anymore because he's too old, so he's got to pass it on. And giving it to Falcon, again, yes, Bucky, people will say, well, Bucky's the one with the superpowers, and he's the one... He's
got robotic arms, which gives a bit of strength.
Yeah. Well, no, he's also got the super serum, wasn't he? Because he was...
No.
Yeah, he has. He was one of the test things with him. He couldn't have survived half the things he's done without it.
No, he's never had the super serum.
Yes, he has.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
They even say it in Winter Soldier or one of them.
I have to rewatch that again.
Yeah, because they even say they experiment. That's why they picked him up to experiment. It wasn't just give him an arm and that's it.
I thought they just brainwashed him and...
No, he couldn't have survived half the things he's done if he wasn't super soldier. Then again, half of them shouldn't, because they torpedoed which came out of nowhere. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that did come
Half
out
of them
nowhere.
shouldn't have survived that.
No, not at all.
Certainly Hawkeye shouldn't.
And
I'm glad he did, but he doesn't have any superpowers. He's just very skilled.
And there was another pop as well, which I quite liked, where Hulk was holding up the whole Avengers sort of base, and that is a nod to Secret Wars as well. I can't remember the number. I really can't remember the number now. It's got in my head. But the front cover, you have Hulk holding up a whole mountain above the Avengers as well in Secret Wars, and that was a nice little nod to that. I quite liked that.
I wouldn't have known it, but that was cool.
But
although to me that meant the Hulk didn't really get in on the action very much.
No, but again as well though, he did have that one arm, and he's still sort of recovering, because it did take a lot out of Thanos as well, because he was quite heavily sort of burnt as well from it as well. Because there's a lot of theories that Doctor Strange put some sort of curse on the gauntlet, and to be honest though, the same thing happened to the other gauntlet, which was Iron Man's gauntlet as well, and I killed him as well, or not injured him, but just took a lot of out of him. So yeah, I don't believe that fan theory. I thought that was a bit slim, but there was I still thought the time travel thing could have been a possibility, but I was sort of right in a way, but I was happy for what they did. I really knew they were going to use some sort to do with the quantum realm, because that's the only thing that makes sense. But overall, as a film, okay, we've got a quick little wrap up now. Overall, really enjoyed it. Good special effects, good storytelling. The set pieces worked really well, and the team up worked really well. So I was happy with all that. And some nods to the comics and nods to other people, and the ribbing was still good. Like I said, it was a bit too much, but it was still good, and it was in the right place. Some of it was, but overall, I'll give this film. We're gonna score out a 5.
I'm not ranking it.
I'm
gonna
do
ranks.
Okay, I'm gonna do a rank. Okay, it's pretty much, I would say, for me, it's definitely better than Infinity War. Infinity War just felt to be just fight constantly. This, I wanted more story. I don't want a big payoff at the end. I've got that. It gave me what I wanted. Tick that box for me. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5. And I will rank this pretty much in the Marvel Universe nearly right up there with the Winter Soldier, because it's not my favourite. So it's not an origin story in any way, but at the Avengers films, for me, it had that magic what Age of Ultron should have had, but didn't have, but had that magic in it in this one. So I was happy with all that. What about you?
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was. You say Infinity War was fight. It wasn't. Infinity War was more sort of focused on Thanos.
Yeah, I know, but it did feel quite a lot of fights.
I did not feel like there was a lot of that.
For me, it was. I
think there was more fights in Civil War.
Yeah.
But, no, I probably enjoyed it more than Infinity War for some reason, because I knew this one was going to, in theory, have an ending that, well, not going to be the happiest, because, of course, they were going to... Actually, weirdly enough, they only killed 2 people in it. They probably killed more people in Infinity War.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, they did, I would say, yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Like I said, despite the slow beginning and some other nitpicks, for the most part, I thought it was amazing. I mean, there's even all the Avengers films people don't like, or the Marvel movies that people sort of say aren't good. I like all of them. The only one I probably have the biggest problem with is probably Iron Man. That's because I just don't find it that interesting. I even like Thor: Dark World, but then again, I love Thor. So how I would rank it amongst the other ones is hard.
Okay, rank it out of the Avengers then. Which out of the Avengers films they had the team up, so rank it out of those then.
I will always have a soft spot for the first Avengers film.
Okay, yeah.
That's what got me started, because I'd seen a few of them. I hadn't seen Incredible Hulk before I saw it, but it was I hadn't been interested. Like, I didn't see the Iron Man films much. I didn't really know that much. It wasn't until I actually saw the Avengers film that I really got hooked on it. And it was the second phase that's when I started to watch them all religiously. In fact, it annoys me I haven't seen them all at the cinema, because I haven't seen the first 2 Iron Mans or the Incredible Hulk. First one I saw was Captain America. So that's one will always be my favourites, probably of all of them. But this one would probably come second. Because I liked Age of Ultron. I can maybe see why people have issues with it, but I don't really know enough about comic books in general. I just judged it as a movie and I enjoyed it.
As you should.
So, yeah, I probably would... I would rank it second to the Avengers film. But again, I think it's a really fitting ending for the storyline so far, and it'll be interesting to see where they sort of go from it, because they've still got lots of heroes they can still focus on, and of course we all know Spider-Man's.
Yeah, that was my biggest gripe, really. I really think they should not have showed any trailers for that. Personally, I think what they should have done is do a trailer at the end of this film because there's no post-credit. No, so they could have done a trailer for that at the end, which made a bit more sense, and then. But yeah, that's my major thing. So, okay. But anyway,
this to be 15 minutes.
Yeah, we got to about nearly 30. So I think we covered everything that we need, and so this is Movie Goons signing on to next time. So remember to give me a like, share, subscribe. You can find me on Twitter as the Movie Goons. You can find me on Instagram as Toy Therapy as well. And I'll see you guys and girls later. Take care. Bye.